Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Coach McGuire, Texas Tech, they playing no games when it comes to talent acquisition. Now, most of the national media attention has gone to what Texas Tech did in the transfer portal, rightfully so. Did a very good job in the winter months. We got to start talking about what this program is also doing at the high school ranks. Earlier in the summer, number one offensive tackle in the country, Felix Ojo, committing to Texas Tech. I mean, we got five-star edge rusher LaDamion Guyton, arguably the best player in the country in the 2027 cycle, number one player in the state of Georgia, committing to Texas Tech as well. Now, plot twist, this kid is a very, very good football player, elite first step, elite twitch. This kid's potential as a pure pass rusher is absolutely elite over the next couple of years. Now, the more important conversation is, what's the future of Texas Tech? What's the ceiling of this Texas Tech program over the next 5 years? Now, I think a lot of Texas Tech fans recognize that there is work to be done. You can't just go land two five-star prospects and expect to compete at the highest level of sport. If Texas Tech can show that they can consistently move like this when it comes to talent acquisition, like I ain't only talking about winning the Big 12. Now, this team can be dangerous at the highest level of the sport over the next couple of years. And again, a lot of work that needs to be done. They're showing you that they can potentially have the firepower to assert themselves as a dangerous team, not only in the Big 12, but when it comes to the college football playoffs. And I want to take a deep dive in terms of the strategy, in terms of how Texas Tech is trying to build this roster before we get into it. As always, yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of Texas Tech fans listening to this, but I'm sure there's plenty of Georgia fans. I'm sure there's plenty of Texas fans. And if you're a college football fan that followed this sport closely, you're probably paying attention to what's going on with this Texas Tech program. Would love to hear from you guys in the comments section. A lot of different takes to be had about this program. Let it rip. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, real quick on the player, and I think is important. This kid, kind of reminds me a little bit of David Bailey coming out of high school, just a little bit more horsepower and twitch. You're looking at a guy that the tackles are going to struggle dealing with this kid's first step and his bend around the outside shoulder. Sneaky has some horsepower and power in his hands as well. Know who he actually probably reminds me a little bit more of? Maybe a guy like Colin Simmons. I mean, you got some legitimate burst and bend, the ability to be a guy that can go for 10 plus sacks every single year. Now, the thing that strikes me the most about what Texas Tech is doing is that they ain't no secret. They're shelling out some money, right? I think Texas Tech fans fully know that as well. They're prioritizing high value positions. I mean, go look at the high school ranks, the guys that they've really pushed their chips in for. Felix Ojo in the 2026 cycle, LaDamion Guyton in the 2027 cycle. They're also going after Cooper Hackett, who's one of the best tackles in 2027 as well. When Texas Tech is getting aggressive, spending their money, they're going after premier positions. Look, there's a reason that the guys that pass rush the quarterback and the guys that are tasked with protecting the quarterback, there's a reason at the NFL they get paid the most money outside of the quarterback position. Well, that's what you're seeing Texas Tech do. The guys that can impact the passer and the guys that protect the passer, those are the guys that we are going to value as top priorities. Those are the guys that we are comfortable shelling out some real money for. And it's not just at the high school ranks with guys like Felix Ojo, guys like LaDamian Guyton. You go to the transfer portal, a guy like Howard Sampson, Hunter Zabrano, Romello Height, David Bailey, Lee Hunter coming from UCF. I think Texas Tech understands that, look, you can win a lot of football games in the Big 12 by having good quarterback play and dynamic wide receivers, of which Texas Tech has had in the past and will have over the next couple of years. If you want to close the gap between the teams that you see in the Big 10 and the teams that you see in the SEC, you got to look like those teams along the lines of scrimmage as well. That is what James Blanchard, the Texas Tech general manager, is trying to do. If we want to get this program to not only just winning the Big 12, but competing at the highest level, and that's what the plan is for Texas Tech. They wouldn't be spending this kind of money if that wasn't the plan. Hey, we got to make sure we look like Georgia. We look like Texas. We look like Ohio State. We got to look like those programs along the lines of scrimmage as well. There's only one way to do it, and you got to go get those bodies that look like the guys at Georgia. And they're doing that both in the transfer portal and at the high school ranks. That's what gives me the most optimism that Texas Tech can take the step as a program. Right now, I'm not saying Texas Tech is going to be a top 5 team in the next 2 years. They might be, but I'm not necessarily saying that. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. But in my opinion, they're clearly putting a high value on those premium positions, the positions that separate the elite teams from just the teams that aren't elite. And if you continue doing that over the next couple of cycles, get bodies that look like Felix Ojo and look like LaDamion Guyton coming into your program, that's a really good start. And then I think the last thing is, hey, putting it all together. It's one thing to acquire talent. You got to go not only win football games and show that, hey, if you are a 5-star prospect, top 100 kid, you can come to Texas Tech and not only win the Big 12, compete in the college football playoffs. We also got to show everybody that we can, you come to Texas Tech, you're going to get paid in the NFL as well. I think that's the next step for Texas Tech as a program. There's a reason that a program like Georgia or a team like Alabama with Nick Saban had such an easy time recruiting. They had a track record of you come to Bama, you come to Georgia, you go into the NFL. And that's where your real payday is coming. If Texas Tech can show that not only we can pay you up front to come to Texas Tech, you're going to get paid on the back end going to the NFL and you're competing in the college football playoffs, that's the next step for this program to take. A lot of buzz around this program going into 2025, but it doesn't stop there. You got to stack some wins in 2025, and you got to develop some of these high school kids in 2026 and 2027. Like Coach McGuire's been around the block. He knows you don't just snap your fingers and immediately win a national championship. There are steps. It is a process that you need to take. I think Texas Tech is showing you that they're prepared to spend and take those steps to get to the highest level of the sport. Is it going to work? We going to find out over the next couple of years, but you make no mistake about it. If you are a Texas fan, I'm a Michigan fan, if you're a Georgia fan, you're looking at Texas Tech and saying, no longer is this program just a thorn in our sides on the trail. Legitimate presence when it comes to talent acquisition, and that's how it starts. Get the Jimmies and Joes coming into this program. You start putting it together on the football field. That's how you build real momentum. That's how you build sustainability in this sport. I think Texas Tech is, look, they got to show us the sustainability, but they're taking steps to go in that direction. I think it starts with acquiring these guys along the line of scrimmage, and that's what Texas Tech is doing. We'll close it out there. It is a very rarely do we get to see a program snap their fingers and just kind of emerge as a team that makes you put your eyebrows up. That's what we're seeing from Texas Tech. And I think most college football fans that follow this sport closely, keeping their eye program down there in the state of Texas. We will close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Hey, whether you're a Texas Tech fan, whether you are a casual, not casual, you ain't casual. If you're watching this episode, you ain't just a casual college football fan. Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this program in the comment section. What do you think the next 5 years looks like for Texas Tech on the football field and on the recruiting trail? Appreciate you guys. We're going to talk to y'all later. Peace.